Hi, I'm Kisa.
And I'm Theo.
Welcome to Finding Your Voice,
a show about speaking your truth and stepping into your power.
Let's get it. Hey. What's up, Theo?
What up?
Okay, so we're here. We made it here.
After hours of technical difficulties, but you know what? We learned, because this is our first time setting up all of this equipment, and if you guys can see, but you can't see from here, but it took us a few hours, but we figured it out. Thank
goodness for Google, because seriously, if we hadn't had Google, I don't know what we were going to do today. So.
Thank you to the Googs. Anyway, we are so excited to have you here with us today. If you're listening to us right now, thank you so much for tuning in. We're so excited to use our radio voices. No.
Yes. Well, I'm learning because, everyone says I have this squeaky high voice. So my sister was like, use your bass voice. So I'm like, yes, okay, I'm here. Bass voice.
Bass voice. So thank you for joining us. Yes. And we are... very new show, so we're excited to be here.
Extremely.
And you can find us on Instagram at Finding Your Voice Show. Make sure to follow us, and we will give you some good tips on how to find your voice and stepping into your power.
That's right.
And also giving you information about some of the guests that are coming up, which they're going to be dope. But before we dive in, we just wanted to dedicate this first show to us. And the reason why we started this show, and for both of us, we've really been through a lot, like, a lot of you listening out there right now. And we found that because of the things we went through, it really blocked our ability to use our voice.
That's right.
Physically, mentally, emotionally, all of that. And we both have similar but different stories. And when we met each other, it was just like love at first sight.
Yeah.
And we realized that we are literally soul sisters, like sisters who have been in each other's lives from lifetime to lifetime.
Feels like forever.
It really
forever,
does. And so it's not a coincidence that we actually go through the same things too.
Yes. Often it's kind of spooky, but true. But very, very true.
Yeah. So let's just dive right in. Kisa, okay.
Yeah.
Why don't you tell me a little bit about why you're inspired to come out of your shell, because Kisa is actually quite shy.
Anyone who knows me, this is true. I am shy.
Yes. So what inspired you to kind of get out there and take your power back?
Well, just backstory, just growing up in the music industry. I've been in the music industry since I was 9 years old. Prior to that, my father was in it, and pretty much just born and raised in this business. And, early on you're taught to just, maintain your composure at all times. Even if you're miserable, the show must go on. Keep that smile on your face and, keep it moving. And so, being taught early on to pretty much just kind of keep your emotions inside. And so over many years of just kind of going through self-discovery and, just evolving as a woman, I felt that it was really important to actually come out of my shell and find my own voice and just speak about different things that I've experienced in the industry, and hoping that that's going to impact the new guys that are coming aboard and maybe make a change overall in the industry for the better.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So what about you, Theo? Because you are an artist now, and I'm so excited about that.
Thank you.
Because if you guys don't know, she's got a new video coming out very soon called It's So Good.
So good.
And she's fantastic, and it took a lot of courage for you to get to that point.
You.
So can we find out a little bit about you?
Oh, gosh, yeah. Ooh, yeah. Growing up in a refugee immigrant family, it was all about security and survival, but I was born in America, and as soon as I was born, I just, my soul was on fire, and I knew I had a mission to use my voice as a singer and an activist and whatnot. But growing up, I was told, no, don't do it, and always kind of like, follow this path instead. Right. And it was really, really difficult for me because I kept on fighting it over and over. You just ask my parents. I was a pain in the butt because I was trying to fight for who I was and my purpose.
I could see you now, little Theo. Like
I was a
little fiery Theo.
I was gonna be a TCH sometimes, I'm saying. I'm not gonna lie, just ask my family. Because I was sassy. I was so sassy. But then also at the same time, like, I had severe stage fright. So it was interesting because I'm outgoing, but I'm also severely, have the severe stage fright. So along with just growing up in that kind of like household and then getting into relationships that were toxic and abusive, that even shut my voice down even more and more and more. And my throat chakra and my heart were closed for a very long time. And I was in a group with somebody, a musical group, and I was dating him at the same time. And in my mind, I think I thought that that's what love was, like codependency, which is not.
Exactly.
Because I saw my parents do everything together. So I thought, do everything together.
That's right.
We had a business together, music. We both worked in a corporate industry together. We had the same friends. And so my life was really dedicated to making that and the music work. But it wasn't working because I felt like I had to dim my light a lot, and my light was dimmed, and I had a lot of traumatic experiences in the studio. So once I left that relationship, and then I also left the corporate world because it was sucking my soul dry. I worked a corporate job in digital ad sales, which was great. I met a lot of my friends from there, and it really served me well. And I was making over $100,000. So my bank account was really cushy, but my soul was empty inside. And so I had to remove myself and also remove myself from situations that weren't serving me anymore because I was becoming very depressed and suicidal. It was really scary. And I just didn't want to be here anymore. But there was one little thing that kept me going, and it was that tiny, tiny, tiny little spark of fire. And that was my sole purpose. And I always knew it had to do with my voice. So once I really dedicated myself to healing, it took years, and then I took up Reiki and I learned how to heal myself, and now I am so grateful to have the ability to help heal others, which is, I just love so much. After I went through that, now I'm ready to get back out there because I've filled my cup up for as long as I wanted to, I felt was right for me. And now I'm ready to step out there, use my voice with music, with the show, with helping others activate their heart and voice as well.
That's right. And I think it's so interesting because I've had the opportunity to watch you evolve and go through this music process, and a person that, I feel blessed because you allowed me to join you on that journey.
Girl, it was meant to be, please. Seriously, as soon as I met her, I was like, I don't know why, we're going to be best friends.
And, it's just the zest to see somebody step into their power and step into themselves. That's what I'm all about because, growing up, back in my day, you had to be groomed and trained to be this perfect, artist, and I realized that what makes you so great is not being so perfect and actually just expressing yourself freely, and having the ability to know that it's okay to be different from someone else, to sing different, to sound different,
be original,
how to cultivate yourself. Back in my time, it was how do we, take this artist and convert them into something else, and so for me the passion is all about that artist discovering who they are and making that even bigger, understanding their higher purpose. And so I think that's what kind of just brought us together because you didn't give up, and I saw you go through that transition, and you're such a fighter, and now you're a healer helping others, and I think that it's a force to be reckoned with. I'm super, super excited about you and everything that you're doing.
She's so biased about me, though. She's always, she was like, I told this person how great you were. I'm like, wait, don't be overselling me, girl.
Seriously. The video, when she drops this video, you guys, it's the most beautiful video I've ever seen in my life. And I mean, she just had this vision, and she called me and she told me about it. I was like, oh my God, yes. And we jumped on a plane.
Yes.
To Hawaii.
Yes. Well, how would it happen? Sometimes like, at least with all the work that I've been doing in spiritual work, and I've been really learning how to just be in flow. And when the universe brings you opportunities, pay attention to it, so you can hop on them. And one of them was Hawaii. My friend Marlene was like, oh, they have really cheap tickets to Hawaii right now because I just reopened it after, during COVID. And I was like, I don't got a lot of money right now, but I'm like, is this what? I gotta check this out. And I checked it out. It was so cheap that I was like, I'm gonna call Kisa. And if she says yes, then we're going. That's a sign that we're going. And normally Kisa can't go anywhere.
I don't go anywhere.
She's so busy. She's a mom. She works. Like, she can't go anywhere.
Yep.
And her son is a really, really dope artist and person and soul. So she's really busy. So I was like, let's just see. So I call her up. I'm like, yo, Kisa. I'm like, it's a crazy idea. I got these cheap tickets from Hawaii. Like, what do you think? And you were like, yes.
Gosh, I think, because of COVID, I think that so many people are wanting to step out of their shell. And so before, when, like you said, I've been a mom to my son, Papa J, or Thaddeus Mixon, who is amazing. And that's the joy of my life. But working and just focused on him. And actually, during COVID, I had a chance to spend more time with him, more quality time with him. And I really enjoyed that. Now that COVID is over, everybody's kind of getting back into the hustle and bustle. But when that opportunity came up, I really felt like it was important for my growth and to do a reset for myself, like so many other people, and kind of look at my life and determine where I want to go, what direction do I want to go in. And like you, it's about helping others. And that's what it's all about for me. And so, when we discussed doing this show, I was super excited because we both were just in Hawaii, actually, getting ready to work on your video.
Oh my God, is that when we came up?
Yes, we're walking down the street.
Oh my God.
And we're like, what if we do a talk show?
How
do you
funny.
remember?
Yes.
And we were trying to come up with all the, these names, but we had all these ideas that we wanted to talk about because we were really just stepping into, I think, our power.
Yes,
together.
we were vibing.
Yeah, we were vibing. And, Theo is way more adventurous than I am. So I didn't know what I had gotten myself into.
Okay, yes. First of all, I love Kisa, and she was the first person I called to be a part of this music video because I just trust you so much, and if you're out there and you're kind of feeling out of alignment, it's not a bad idea to look at the people around you in your community and the energies you surround yourself with. Yeah. Because that's so crucial for your own energy. And if you're going through something and like needing time to heal,
Yes.
Creating a community of people who unconditionally love you and support you and don't want anything from you, is so key. So that's a side tangent, but I just want to put that out there because I just feel like that for me, that was such a big part of my healing experience was being able to walk away from energies that weren't serving me in a positive way. And it doesn't mean that they're bad people at all. It's just that it's no longer a part of.
That's right.
You're not on the same wavelength.
Yep.
And that's totally okay. But Kisa, we've always been on the same wavelength since we've met. And how we met was because I was in a musical group, and we hired her son, who was 5 years old at the time, to play a mini character of one of my partner at the time. Excuse me, I had to burp. And he was so professional and so cute and so talented. And then I met Kisa, and it was just like, over.
Yeah,
like,
it was.
Angel,
instantly.
best friend for life.
As soon as you came over and you walked in the door, I was like, who is this ball of energy, a ball of light walking in here? And
it's me.
I was just like, you're such a star. You're such a star. What are you doing? And I couldn't believe that you didn't at that moment really see it the way I saw it when you walked in the door. And and so that's why I'm excited about where you are now with your artistry, because you have that confidence. And even when you didn't, you had so much courage because you stepped up on stage and you performed in front of people, and you were terrified, but you did it.
Oh my God, I was so terrified.
And I was your backup singer. Do you remember?
Yes, no, I remember. I don't know what you guys were doing back there, though. You guys, no, I was incredibly terrified because I have stage fright. Yeah, and especially that was when I performed for the first time live at my First Fridays in the Valley. Shout out to my First Fridays. Mm-hmm. I was so scared. I was like shaking. I was like, I couldn't eat. I couldn't drink. I was like, and I was definitely
Yeah.
Not fully healed.
Yeah.
But I needed to do that to overcome my fear.
That's right.
You know?
That's right.
So
Yeah.
it wasn't perfect, but I'm so grateful for the opportunity to just make it over that hump, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, I'm looking forward to, now that we're moving out of, I guess, the COVID world, that, you know, how are you going to, you know, feel when you start performing and, you know, doing shows? How do you feel now from there to today?
That's a great question.
Yeah.
So much more calm. You know, I did a radio show with Sarah Wong the other day, and it was live, and I was not nervous about it. Well, also because I was really busy. I didn't really have time to be nervous.
Yeah.
But I was not nervous at all. I was very calm, you know, and when it happened, there were technical difficulties, and normally I'd be really hard on myself. But after I was done, I was like, you know, it's all good, because that's life. Like, I think like the pressure to be perfect is what kind of sets you up for like self-sabotage sometimes. You know what I mean? And that was always me, like perfect, or putting so many waiting for perfection so long that like you don't put the project out. Oh,
well, I mean, you know, I've seen that so much. You know, even growing up, you know, for me, when I was a recording artist, I think it was, I can't remember who was the producer that said that. They said, you can't produce your vocals. Like, I need to produce your vocals, because we'll keep doing this over and over again. It'll never be good enough. You know, and I think a lot of artists run into that, where, you know, they end up critiquing themselves so hard that they never get to the finish line. And sometimes it's that rawness that really makes it great. You know, if you listen to Michael Jackson album, and, you know, you hear him do a cry in the song, and it was just genuine, you know, and that's what made the song, that it just resonated with your soul, because he allowed himself to be really vulnerable and not perfected, even though he was a perfectionist, you know, on stage or in other areas. But in that part, in the booth, one of the things that I always look at with different artists that I've worked with in the studio was to just realize that you have to connect with your soul and your feelings. And
and if you're not in alignment,
you've got
a lot of things coming at you,
absolutely,
it's so hard to open up your soul and your heart.
Oh, it is.
And my heart chakra and throat chakra was so closed that when we went into the studio with Tim and Romeo to record my very first ever like song, full song, solo song that I've written by myself, it took me so long to record it, like a month and a half, I think, or so. And bless their hearts for being patient with me, because they knew that I was working through trauma. And they were so patient. Thank you so much, you guys. And they allowed me to work through it.
They're amazing. And, you know, I think that, you know, moving into, the producers are so different today than they were when I was growing up. Most of the producers that I worked with were perfectionists, you know, and they had skills. Like, not to say that the young guys today don't have skill sets, but it seems to be that they're phenomenal at what they do, but everything is like really, really quick. You know, where back in my day, if it took 2 weeks to record an album, one song, to make it just amazing, then so be it. You know, today everything is like, we need to be done like in 2 hours, which I find kind of interesting, and I'm still trying to process that, because when I observe my son going in the studio and working, it's totally different from what we were used to. It's like you know, you go through rehearsal, then you know, you listen to the record, then you come in, and then you make sure that your backs are perfect and this is perfect and blah 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 blah. But it's different today, because you've got technology, you got all these different things, and it's just moving like the speed of lightning. So it's kind of interesting in that area. I'm wondering, I'm curious if we're going to move towards, you know, a little bit back in the day, like Bruno Mars, kind of going back
that's
to
funny that you say Bruno Mars.
Because
I was just see, we are seriously, we don't even need to talk sometimes.
Where are we going with this?
We don't like, literally, we are telepathic, and we can communicate. We have communicated without words before in public. It's crazy.
Like,
yes, because that's what I was actually thinking when you're saying that. Because I with my music, I want to bring more live instruments and like more of a band feel, more you know, because there's nothing like the sound of a live band.
Well, you know, and I really respect what's happening now, because this is their their voice, you know. And of course we need to do a show on some of these young artists that are out
of
there.
course.
And probably my son, you know,
Yeah.
being one of them, but because they've got a unique way of how they're connecting with music, you know.
Yes, and with technology.
Now, you know, with my son, he's been influenced by a lot of the old school stuff because of myself and his dad.
Well, and he has an old soul.
So, but you know, a lot of these new guys are really, really talented, and they're speaking to the youth. Whatever they're doing, it's working for them. But you know, it's nice and refreshing when you hear Bruno Mars come aboard, and he's doing a song that is live music, and they're accepting that too. So it'll be nice to see where we're moving in that area. Because when I was growing up, you know, I was in the studio with my dad listening to Shaka Khan live, and you know, Stevie Wonder and all these guys. And you know, when you hear them live rehearsing, it gives you a different kind of feel and a passion that it's not even, you know, something you can really explain.
Yeah.
So yeah, I definitely want you to do some live stuff, because
I would love to.
you're gonna kill it.
Thank you. Thanks for the vote of confidence. We'll see. So let's go back to kind of your journey, though. What were some of the things or moments or situations that blocked you from using your voice?
Ooh,
that affected you?
You know, so what made me really want to start working with artists vocally, especially in the studio, and trying to help them reach their goals, you know, in the studio, was because I started singing really, really young, and everyone wanted me to belt. They want you to hit the high note, you know what I'm saying? And I am telling you, they want you to go up, keep belting over and over again. You got to do it for the family, for the neighborhood kids. Then you got to do it for the producers. Then after you do it for the producers, you got to go down the street and sing it for somebody's mama and uncle and auntie or whatever. And so when I hit the age of maybe 22, my voice started to burn out. Literally, I was getting into theater, and right in the middle of a song, I'm going to hit the high note, and I knew I was really burning my voice out. It was, you know, repetitive singing over and over again, 3-4 times a day doing a show, and went to hit the high note, and it went away.
Oh no.
And the spotlight is on me, and
oh my God, it was while you were performing?
Right in the middle of the performance, and I'm ready to die, and it was gone. It was just gone. I knew something had shifted in my voice, but I had, you know, even though I felt it coming along, I just kept pressing and pressing. I was like, that's okay. You know, I'll just press tonight.
You're ignoring the signs.
I'm ignoring the signs. And how many of us do that?
Oh yeah. Push yourself.
Yes. And even though, you know, during my time, you know, we had, you know, a little bit of vocal training from, you know, someone by the name of Seth Riggs, who was like a legend, you know, a legendary vocal coach at that time. You know, worked with him a little bit here and there, but again, you know, there was an abuse of my vocal cords for so long that finally they were just gone. And so,
which is so scary for a singer.
It was terrifying,
because I had lost my voice for a year. Yeah, as well.
For me, it was 2. It was 2 years, and so I found myself. I never had a false. I never worked on a false. So I found myself trying to rebuild. That's
falsetto for people who don't
know.
Guys,
falsetto. So I found myself trying to discover my voice and what this was, and first of all, how to get my voice back. And it was a painful process for me. But what I learned was that, number one, I could get my voice back, and I developed different skill sets. And then I started to kind of get into you know, deeper about how your vocal cords work, and, you know, how you're supposed to use them and not use them, and the whole thing. So I started to study that. But what I started to do was actually visualize my vocal cords when I was singing and when I was rebuilding my vocal cords. So visualization for me was very important. And so
it's funny because as soon as you said that, my like vocal cords relaxed.
There you go.
because I just imagined like an ocean. I was like, oh.
There you go.
Yeah,
and that's one of the tools.
Because my throat gets really tight.
Absolutely. And so that's what I started to develop in my own mind, is visualization of my vocal cords and the healing and how they need to balance out. And so as I started to work with other artists, I used that I used that technique with them, visualization. And so it took them into a whole nother place, as opposed to just, hey, it took them into a whole nother place and gave them an understanding of how to connect with their body and their soul.
Right. It's a whole package thing.
Package.
Mental, physical, emotional,
absolutely,
spiritual.
Absolutely. And as we move forward, I think that I would love to see this, become just a part of being an artist, where they're visualizing, so that they can overcome their fears, so that they understand that the most important thing is taking care of yourself, number one, and then going into your artistry, but with that mindset that I'm not gonna abuse myself. I'm gonna take care of myself.
I love how she's looking at me too. She's like, I'm not gonna no, okay. Well, no, 'cause look, I'm not ashamed to say that I was addicted to cannabis. When I was, it's true.
No judgment.
Yeah. And I don't judge anybody either, because I understand that we all have our own journeys and processes. And like when I was really depressed, I was definitely abusing cannabis because I was just trying to numb myself from trauma. Right. And I was running away, but you can only do that for so long till you're like, what am I gonna do for the rest of my life? Just smoke myself to oblivion, not do anything. And I was like, well, it's either that or pick yourself up and put yourself back together. And I was tired of being so depressed and like drained, and I was getting sick all the time. It was just not good. So yeah, choosing healing was definitely the most fruitful and amazing, life-changing decision I've ever made.
Yeah. I think that the message, I know for me and with our show, with our platform, Finding Your Voice, is to make sure that people understand that self-love is the most important thing. That's first, and because if you get fame and you get all these amazing opportunities and you don't have that, you will find yourself in a dark place. Right. And so it's really important, that artists and people in general start to really kind of tap into self-discovery, as they leap into anything, whether it's a job, whether it's entertainment business, whatever it may be. So for me, doing this show, I felt that it was important for me to come out of my shell and out of my shyness.
Which I'm so proud of. I'm so proud of you. Yeah,
so for me, it was just important to come out of my shell as well, and make sure that, the tools that I've learned, hopefully, the younger generation, they don't have to make the same mistake. And then the older generation that is still suffering inside, for them to come out, and heal themselves, for whatever that may be,
And I think that, at least from what I've been seeing, even with my own family, there's a lot of trauma from my parents' journey over to this country, a lot of things that I don't even know, and I'm sure they don't want to open up because it's just so painful. And that's something I'll never be able to understand. But I knew that once I started working on myself and changing my vibrations, it would kind of leak into the people around you, including my family. And two of my sisters also went on their healing journey, and I think all of us just making that choice to change our vibrations has helped the family as well, and change, and breaking ancestral, cycles, putting in the hard work to really heal. And so that's one of the, inspirations for me to do this, because I really want to heal our ancestry line. Because it leads, I don't know what you believe in out there, but for me, I believe in multiple lives, multiple dimensions, all that kind of stuff, and it's all connected, and sometimes when you get birthed into the physical world that you're in right now, karmic cycles, karmic contracts, and things from the past lives can follow you into this life. So things that you're not even aware of and affect you so much.
And I mean, I'm glad that you brought that up, because aside from being an artist, you are a healer as well, and I'm just learning about so forgive me guys if I'm saying all the stuff wrong, but Reiki, and so you you do a lot of that aside from your artistry, which I'm trying to discover a little bit more about that, because it's just so fascinating to me, because the way I grew up, I never heard about Reikis and all those different things. But I think that more and more I'm starting to see people step into that. And, so it's very interesting to me. So do you mind giving us a little bit of a take on that?
Absolutely. It is great because a lot of people, I think, COVID and quarantine, gave people an opportunity to really slow down and look at themselves.
Right.
And whether you wanted to or not.
Yeah.
So some people had a really hard time because it was like, whoa.
Yeah.
Ooh, I don't like this. I don't like this.
Yeah.
I can't sit still, which is understandable. Everyone has their own processes. But it was during quarantine that I took up Reiki. And I just thought it was such a great time because everyone was going through the shift and I was ready for the shift. And at that point I had done everything that I could on my own to heal myself.
Right.
But I still couldn't get to the next level. So my friend and healer Sarah and other friend Rebecca, they were hosting a Reiki level 1 class, and it just spoke to me. And I was like, let's just do it. I'm going to invest some money into this. And I did it, and I really followed and stayed committed to self-healing, because Reiki level 1 is self-healing, learn how to heal yourself. And I did that for 8 months or so. And it just changed me so much. And Reiki is a spiritual energy, Reiki, you can come in. It's my roommate, so we're doing it in the living room here, so but Reiki is basically unconditional love, universal light. It's love that comes from beyond us, beyond anything that we can really even comprehend, and the thing is, it's not something that you can see or you can really touch, or it's not tangible, but what I know is that I've experienced miracles.
Well, I mean, so I went on, I don't know, you call it a spiritual retreat. Yep. Just a couple of days ago in Big Bear, which I've never been to Big Bear, which by the way, it was so beautiful. And two, I'd never been to Hawaii. I mean, I've gone to, different cities, in my lifetime as an artist, but I've never stopped to really enjoy traveling or stop to, I guess, smell the roses. I've never done that in my whole entire life, and we're not going to tell you how old I am, but it's old. So
please.
So for me, I realized that tomorrow isn't promised to anybody. So I have this zest to just experience these new things and kind of dive into it and be fearless and see what it's all about, not be afraid to open myself up. And so went to this retreat. It was amazing, and I was so intrigued by just the process of it, and I wanted to dive even deeper. So I can't wait for that to be introduced. And also, Theo and I are going to incorporate some of that in some vocal skill training and things like that. Because I mean, it really took me to a really peaceful place. I really felt myself getting very centered and very focused, and I changed within just a couple of days from just that experience alone, and being, out there with the nature and the birds and the trees.
Energy is important. You can't see energy.
Yeah.
Reiki is energy healing, and people are like, whoa, what is that?
Yeah.
But wow, how important frequency and vibration is.
Well, I think a lot of people, especially some people I know, when you talk about those types of things, it's like, oh Lord, she's on some kind of spiritual weird journey or whatever. But I really wish that more people open themselves up for that, because it's really not that at all. It's really learning how to tap into your higher self and your higher purpose in life. And I think we're all searching for peace and joy. So if you have an opportunity to find that, might be a good, way to get there, for some, and that's what I'm learning.
Find what works for you.
Find what works for you.
It's the same thing doesn't work for everybody.
Absolutely not.
And that's okay, because you're different, you're unique, you're on your own journey.
Yes.
So I think the number one thing though is awareness.
Absolutely.
A lot of people aren't aware, and part of it is because they're not ready to be aware.
Right.
And not ready to really face the truth.
Yeah.
And so you got to kind of go on your own journey with that. But it really comes back down to self-love.
It's beautiful. It's really beautiful.
It really is. And for me, you know what, I've been telling myself this because I used to pour my cup for everybody. I was just like, and you I just hit the microphone. I'm a klutz, y'all.
Yeah.
But like,
I'm a klutz too.
Like you get love, and you get love, and you get love, you get love, and I was just giving myself away so much and not pouring anything back into myself. And I also had an issue with receiving, and I think that it had a lot to do with my childhood and the trauma. You know, not thinking I was good enough. You know, because when I was younger, I did experience a traumatic, you know, as a child where someone literally stole my voice, you know, and so it's taken me up to this point to regain my power back, you know, and so I just told myself, I'm no longer going to pour my cup at all. I'm not even going to tip it. Like if you want to drink from my cup, you're going to drink from my overflow.
There you go.
You know what I'm saying?
That's right.
I'm not tipping no more.
No. And you know, I was fortunate enough, especially in the industry that I've grown up in, because I mean, I do know that, you know, at some point when I was younger, I was targeted, you know, by, you know, whoever, you know, but somehow I was able to escape that part of it. But, you know, there was moments in my life where I was so isolated that whether people realized it or not, I was very naive to people's intentions. And so
okay, that's something that she and I have in common. We were just like, everybody's great, spread love everywhere, trust everybody.
And you know, I get it. It's hard to believe that a person can grow up in the entertainment industry, or you know, or in the world even, and kind of be naive to a lot of different things. And that naivety actually led me to making a lot of mistakes, you know, when I dived into relationships. First of all, I didn't know anything about, you know, relationships when I was younger at all, because my brain was always about music, that I don't know what I was thinking about how you're supposed to be in a relationship.
Right.
I didn't know.
and let's talk about relationships for a second, right? Because that is such a big factor in how, I mean, how we react to things, right? How if we were in a healthy relationship or an unhealthy relationship, and also what we saw growing up or what we saw with our friends and our family, like
how were you raised?
Right. Like what is love?
Right.
Because love is so different for every person and every culture, every home. So that because childhood is just so crucial. It's so incredibly crucial, and that's why I want to break these ancestral cycles. You know, and I love my parents, don't get me wrong. I love my parents, and they sacrifice so much, and they work so hard, and they're huge dreamers of their own who never got to see their dreams realized because of certain circumstances in their life. So I am so proud of them, and I'm grateful to have inherited their tenacity. You know,
well, I'm learning so much because your family, they're from Hmong.
She always says this. No, we are not from Hmong. Hmong is not a place.
They are Hmong. Yes. I stand corrected. Yes. They are
Hmong.
Yes. And so what's crazy about that is that so many people I know, they don't know what that is.
No, it's okay. Because even Asian people don't know what it is.
But they don't. And so I was so like just amazed by that. Number one, I was like, what? And then as you educated me on the culture itself, then I just felt like it was so important that you would introduce the world to that culture, you know, as well, because number one, they're so strong. They're very, very strong. And by the way, it's not true about blacks and Asians not getting along, you guys. That's bull, okay? But you know, but we've talked about that too. And, you know, so there is a difference in how we're raised to be. But what I do feel is that that is a culture of very strong people. And women, by the way, are very strong. And so, so, I mean, in your music, you know, you give people introduction into that, which I thought was the most beautiful thing I've ever seen in my life, and such a tribute to your ancestors. And I'm hoping that, you know, people get more interested in what that is and kind of bring it to the forefront. You know, so how do you feel about all of that?
Well, I mean, most people, you know, they try to guess like what ethnicity I am, you know, and it's always a fun guessing game. My mom says you're
Puerto Rican. She just said it the other day. We're like, Mom, she's not. My sister, she goes, Mom, she's not. She's like, but she just looks like she. I'm like, no, she's not.
I've definitely been guessed a wide range of, you know, they've done
mixed.
Yeah, they've done Hawaiian, Latina. All the other Asian ethnic groups except for mine, because no one actually knows.
When we said Hmong, she said like Polynesian. I said, no, Mom, it's not anywhere near.
Yeah, well, you know what most people say, because they're like, oh, where, you know, what ethnicity are you, or where are you from? And I'm like, oh, I'm Hmong, and they go, Mongolian.
Now I've heard that too.
Like honestly, probably 75% of the time, Mongolian. And I'm like, no, not very different. Like, no, not Mongolian, and it's Hmong with an H, Hmong, and we're ethnic minority of Southeast Asia, far descendants of southern China, and we've always been on the move and vagabonds and moving through, you know, because we were being chased, you know, and we were also moving with the harvest and the crops, so it was just like mountain to mountain, and we went to the mountains because it was very difficult to live up there and also to get around there. So crazy. So we're like, you know what, we gonna go up here.
That's so crazy.
And I mean, there's obviously so much more to
and
it
then
than
what
I
you
know.
just told me the other day is that there are still people living in the mountains.
There are still people
today.
living in the mountains, hiding. And
they're hiding because they're still targeted. Wow.
Yeah. So my community has always had to fight for their freedom. Wow. And I think I didn't realize that until recently, when I just learned more, that that's probably where I get my fight from.
Yep.
From them. And we're a very small community, you know, and we've only been here for a little over 40 years. Wow. So still young, community in the United States. And but I'm so proud of them, because I see a lot of the younger generation really trying to come out and break ancestral cycles too, you know. So
absolutely.
So it's really dope, and I would love to see just more people from my community finding their voice and stepping into their power, you know, and living their truth.
Because you're a bit of a rebel, right?
Yeah.
She's a rebel in her. But, you know, what I loved that kind of we share the same common, you know, bond, is that her family has a musical history in Hmong. So they've got, you know, just they're a top band forever in Hmong. Yes. And my dad, he was, you know, I got my history of music from my father, you know, who was a musician back in the day. So I kind of found that really, really interesting. But for your community what's more fascinating is there's such a small community. So for you to come from a bloodline that, you know, I forget about that sometimes, you know, and like, I honestly forget. I don't look at myself a lot, you know. I'm always like kind of like looking outward, but it is true. Like my dad and my brothers had started a band a long time ago. My dad was not my brothers, his brothers. My dad and his brothers, and his family. What was the name of the band again?
Yes, they started a band and back in the 80s. Wow. And they're called Paradise Band, and shout out to Paradise and my uncles. They started that back in the 80s, and I remember just like as a little girl going to all their shows and watching them bring on like these female guest singers, and I would just be like, let me sing, you know. I'm like,
see you now.
Oh my god, I just be like,
I could do this.
Yeah, I could do this. I was like, I could do this. Somebody give me a chance. But they're like, okay, no, girl. But I was like dying for it, because I was like, I want to do it. But they really, I have to say, I'm so proud of them, because they really did dedicate their lives to it while working a regular job, you know, and having families. And they're still doing it now, like over 25 years later. And I think they're about to release a new album this summer. And I'm proud of them because of the impact that they've made in the community. And they're basically like the Black Street Oh, you said Blackstreet Boys?
Not Blackstreet. Shout out to Teddy.
Okay, I guess you could say like, you know,
not Blackstreet
and Backstreet Boys. Well, and they're not really like Backstreet. Well, I guess they used to be. They did some dancing and chords. Yeah, actually they were, but they all play instruments and stuff. But they were kind of like the boy band of
of the
era,
community, like the top boy band of that era. Which when you showed me the video, I was like, "What?" I know, heck? It's hilarious. I mean, first of all, they have a lot of swag. Like back then, they really did.
Well, it's funny because they're my family, so I'm like, ha ha ha, look at them, ha ha.
I was like, Theo, they got swag. Like, but then you have swag, so I was like, who's this girl coming in here with all this swag? And I guess I compare you to, although you know. There's obviously some differences, but like the Madonna of the community, because you're not afraid to be that rebel, to be that voice, to step out and just, you know, let your light shine and speak your truth.
And let me speak on that for a second, because especially in my community, you know, it wasn't always the most popular thing to speak your truth and say things that are uncomfortable, you know. And I did warn my parents, like, I'm going to be stepping out and speaking my truth.
Wait till they see this video. Because you got butt cheeks out.
Oh my God, I know.
She got the butt cheeks out,
hold on now. Okay, now. I did think about my parents there. But it's not like anything they haven't seen before, you know. They wiped my butt.
Well, that's true. They birthed you. They
exactly.
Okay,
they
wiped
my butt.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, right.
But, excuse me, I don't even know what I was going to say.
You were saying that you were speaking your voice, and that's not something that they do. You know,
well, it's hard, you know, was hard because no one talked about taboo things. Wow. You know, like emotions and feelings and trauma and, you know, and things like that. So I just always had a big mouth. You know, but I think that God gave me this big mouth to use it for a purpose. Okay, that sounds terrible, but you know what I mean. To sing and speak, y'all.
What she means is
to sing and speak.
But when you tell me these stories, I always see this little girl who's just so like, "Hey, I'm talking to everybody, just hear me, see me," and then from their perspective, it's like, "What is wrong with this girl? You don't do that. That's not refined. That's not if I'm painting the picture right." Yeah. Which is, I mean, and I know that how you're explaining it is like it's a culture thing, you know, but I think that really is a reflection on a lot of what women go through in general, on some level.
The expectations of women. And
I don't want to just kind of limit it to women, but men as well, you know.
Actually, anybody of you who is listening out there that has gone through that kind of thing, that's been kind of suppressed and like put down and told that you can't do this or that, you know, and it just doesn't feel good. Yeah, because it's like suppressing your soul. Yeah, you know, and I don't know if anyone's seen the movie Soul. But
I love that movie.
We were brought onto this earth. We chose to come back onto this earth. For a purpose. Absolutely. You know, and it doesn't mean you have to have like this great purpose, you know. Your purpose could be like a mother. Yes. Or I mean that is a great purpose. But you know what I mean? It's like I'm a pharmacist, or like but this is my jam, you know? Yeah.
You know, and I mean I agree. And so I think that, you know, it's so amazing to see you just step out and just have courage to really just express yourself the way you really feel, you know, and then and I hope that people realize it's okay. And I think we are moving in that direction overall, that it's okay to be different. It's okay to be unique, you know, and you don't have to be like the next man to be successful. You know, create your own path. Yes. You know, and
I think especially after COVID, like energies and planets have shifted, like everything. It is truly our time to be as authentic and original as possible. It's almost like the universe was giving us all like a whole reset. Yeah. And they're like, here's your opportunity to paint on a blank canvas. Yeah. And who says that we can't do it, you know? But but if you're going to choose your sole purpose, there will be sacrifices along the way, and you have to be, you know, ready and committed and willing to take those things on. But I will tell you, it's hard work. Sometimes it's scary. It's scary and it's hard, but it's so worth it when you make it to the other side.
Mm-hmm.
That's why, like, Kisa and I are so grateful to be here and to share our journey and our stories with you. And we hope that you just, stay along for the ride.
Yes.
And
well, because aside from this is our first show. This is our first, launching of our show. But we're excited that, on our next show, we're going to be introducing guests to the show that have, just really inspired so many other people. So we got Angela Hutchinson coming.
So excited.
And she has a book that's out called Creating Your Own Yes. And I actually met Angela. She did a documentary called Hush that was about, women that experienced, some sexual harassment, and this was done like years ago when people weren't really talking about it, and she made this amazing documentary and asked if I would be one of the speakers. But since then she's produced some Hallmark movies, so on and so forth. So she's very courageous and amazing, so excited to have her on.
Well, I'm excited to ask her a bunch of questions.
Yes.
And kind of and also just find out how she found her voice.
Yeah. And she's got, I think, 5 kids.
Oh my.
And married, and she's
she
an
does
entrepreneur.
All that stuff. Oh my gosh.
Books, movies, you name it.
That's crazy.
She's
Wonder Woman.
Superwoman.
Yeah.
Yes. Wonder Woman, Superwoman.
A woman.
Yeah.
A woman is Superwoman.
So I'm hoping that you guys join us for our next show. It's going to be exciting, and we've got more to come. So look out.
Yeah. Thank you again for listening, and make sure to follow us on Instagram at Find Your Voice Show.
That's right.
And we are going to end it with a nice little meditation so that, we're going to try to end every show with a little meditation just to, give you guys a little break so you can find a little bit of mindfulness, a little self-love to pour back into yourself. And so until next time, we'll see you then.
See you then.
Bye.
Bye. It's gonna blow, I think.
Hello, and welcome to the meditation portion of the show. If you've made it this far, great job. We are just going to take a little bit of time just to be mindful and to pour a little bit of love back into ourselves. So wherever you may be, in your car, at work, on your lunch, at dinner, in the morning, or at bedtime, or in the middle of the night, wherever you may be, go ahead and just get relaxed if you can, and if you're in a safe place, close your eyes, get comfortable, and let's just take a few deep breaths in and out. Let's inhale and exhale, releasing anything that's been bothering you today. And now inhaling a big breath of positivity and love and light, allowing that to expand in your body, and then exhaling that love and light right back out. And then one more big breath in, filling up your whole body, your lungs, your stomach, and then exhaling with an audible ah. Whatever sounds good to you. And if you sound silly, that's okay. We're here to have a good time. So as you sit or lie there, let's go on a little journey. Notice the sounds, a calm, beautiful beach where you are sitting all by yourself, listening to the sounds of the waves crashing against the shore, allowing those waves to relax you and to put your mind at ease. This is your moment for you only, to give back to yourself, to give thanks to yourself. And as you sit on this beautiful beach during sunset, allow the crisp wind to kiss your skin as it flows across with a lovely breeze. And notice what the sand feels like between your fingers and your toes. Feeling every tiny little granule of sand flowing through your toes and your fingers. And now also feeling the warmth of the sunset against your skin and your face. Embracing that warmth. Imagine a beautiful beam of golden light coming from up above Earth's atmosphere. Just like a beam of light coming straight down to the top of your crown, and allowing that light to just drip and flow down the crown of your head, down the back of your head and your face, your ears, your neck, dripping down like honey, filling your body with goodness and light. Flowing down your chest and your stomach, your hips, flowing through your legs, your knees, your calves, shins, ankles, all the way through your feet, through your toes. Beautiful. Now we're going to do that again, and this time allowing the gravity of this light to bring with it anything within your body or your energetic field that's no longer serving you. So as that light flows down your face and your neck and your body and your shoulders once again, just imagine if there's pain in parts of your body or emotional pain in your heart, mental pain in your mind, or whatever pain or negative energies that are attached to you, allow that light to just bring it down, 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 all the way through to your feet. Melting all of those pains and worries away as it melts into the sand. And let's do that one more time for good measure. Allowing that light to flow again from the crown of our heads, flowing down. And now just sending light and love and a little TLC to any of the places that need a little extra light in those areas. Any nook and crannies you may have forgotten about. Let that light just expand and expand within your bloodstream, your cells, your muscles, your skin, your aura, your energy field, and then beyond now. Beyond yourself and creating a circle of light that just keeps expanding beyond the building or park or wherever you may be, outdoors, indoors, now expanding throughout the city you're in, and then throughout the state, the country, the land, wherever you may be. Just imagining that light expanding and reaching every single human being, every single living thing in this beautiful earth. And as we pour light into ourselves, we remember to pour light to everyone else out there too. Because we all are one, we all are connected, and we all share this universal, unconditional love and light. And as we settle back, just imagine that beam of light now going straight back up past Earth's atmosphere, straight to the stars. And as we're back on the beach, coming back to our reality now, let's wiggle our fingers and toes. Move your arms and legs. Take your time as you slowly open your eyes. And however you may be feeling, just take a few deep breaths in and out, re-energizing your body and your breath and your lungs, giving thanks to yourself, your team, your spirit team. If you don't know, if you have a spirit team, that's okay. You are your own team. So give thanks to yourself for showing up for these last few minutes to pour a little bit of love and light back into yourself. Thank you, and we'll see you next time.